have Instagram, TikTok, and then there we go. The camera on an odd angle on YouTube. Okay. So I'm doing the Mr. Heckles today. Call me Mr. Heckles. From Sincerely Jen. I have actually scaled it down to 85%. Let me see. I have a lovely piece of interfacing. Here we go. That I'm going to put on my bottom piece. Just going to use a piece of tape so it stays where I want it to. Oh, I was like, where did I put my Teflon sheet? Oh, good morning, everyone. I'm running a wee bit behind, so I'll probably stay on longer anyways. I'm going to try to. My energy is not going to be really high, as nature has bestowed upon me the gift of not being pregnant. So, you know. So, me. Let me move you. There we go. Now you can actually see. Now you can see little Rory dinosaur. Ah, it says. Okay. So, to cut time on cutting my fabric or my interfacing, I just lay my fabric onto my interfacing and then do this terrible rough cut. And then I trim it down. That's not always a problem, except for when, of course, I then have to go and recut it. I know some folks that will actually, when they get their cotton fabrics in, they just go ahead and interface the whole yard of it and then cut it from there. And I'm like, that's a pretty cool idea. I've had to do that when I was doing change purses for a friend of mine. The only problem, I had to do it because it was a stretchy fabric. And if you've ever cut out cotton lycra, you will know that it is a challenging fabric to work with no matter your project. The problem I have with doing that with any of my cotton fabric is I have a lot of cotton fabric that I'm actually starting to phase out anyways. I need to do a destash soon. These are my zipper panels. So when the zipper panel is thin, then I usually cut it out in one chunk, interface it, and then cut it out if I'm using cotton. My lining is going to be waterproof canvas. This is not my zipper. This is not my zipper panel, actually. I'm looking at it now like, why are these edges like so angled? Oh, and thankfully I have a little notch here. And that tells me that, no, this is the top part of the back where the slip pocket's going to go. I'm not a huge fan of cutting stuff on the fold. I like having the whole piece. But until I know if I like making this bag, I won't. I don't want to have to print out a bunch of pieces and take, an hour or so to put everything together. Where's the controller? There we go. Just a little noise. There we go. So, I'll be getting rid of that strobe effect here in a few moments. I just have to finish putting the Decoville light on, but to put everything accurately, I need to have this trimmed as well. I really meant to have it done yesterday, but yesterday was, Yesterday was an adventure in minor annoyances all over the place. Just all these things. Like Charlie was extra, extra, extra needy in affection. And I have an order that I really wanted to get out today, which I'll be able to because I finished it yesterday. This is my zipper panel. However, when I was cutting out said backpack for the order, past Liz, that bitch, did not properly label the post-its on the back of my cutting chart. Because you see, the backpack pattern I have at 100% is really, really big. It's from ISY patterns. It's the Fortuna, and it's really, really cute. I love the backpack. I love the shape of it. I love how it comes together. And I love that when I scale it, it works really nice. So, like, I scaled it down to 75% because that's how big 100% is. And it makes the perfect mini backpack. That's what the My Hero one was. Where is it? Oh, there it is. So this is the one I was working on yesterday. And it took me an extra hour because of the fact that, so everybody can see. There you go, Instagram. So the problem was I ended up somehow making the gusset. Oh, I know exactly how it happened. I looked at the wrong numbers. I looked at the 85% numbers instead of the 75% numbers because I have 3 sizes for it. Actually, I have 4. 100%, which can fit a large iPad. 75%, which is the size that I showed you. 85%, which is just a smidge bigger and can fit a regular sized iPad. And at 65%, it's a smidge bigger than the math. So I have all these scales. And that is probably one of my projects this week I need to put on my planner, that I need to go through and do a cut list for it and write down these scales and their measurements, because when I went to put the gusset on, and it was a beautiful gusset, it was 4 inches too big. Like, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen it. It had this, like, it made an egg shape where it should have not been an egg shape. And I had to undo one of the pockets, cut the gusset, and I had to trim the zipper panel and the bottom gusset piece, because if I didn't, the pockets would have sat weird, because the way I have it measured just right so that the pockets sit right where the bottom of the bag actually stops curving. So it's really pretty. It sits really nicely that way. So I had to cut off like 2 inches off, or like 1.5 inches or so off of the zipper panel. And then another 2.5 inches off of the bottom gusset, re-sew that together, which then I sewed it wrong and had to undo that and then kind of roll it into this burrito shape so that I could actually sew wrong sides or right sides together, so that when it flipped out, it was wrong sides together. Then I had to re-put the pocket on and re-top stitch everything. And all the while, I have like a horror book in my ear, and I'm like, y'all can deal with your ghosts. I apparently have gussets to deal with. The thing that made me, and I almost hate to say it like this, the thing that kind of made me happy was the fact that I didn't melt down. I didn't feel the world ending or anything like that. Even my anxiety was like, nah, this is fine. Which yeah, Run DMC. Which was really nice. It's actually yeah. It's a nice attestment to the fact that I feel a lot like I'm growing better. And hi sir, I'm growing at being able to manage my anxiety. Can I assist you, little man? Hi. Give me a second, please, and I will give you all the love you want. Come here. Come here. Come here. Back up. Back up so that everybody can see your pretty face. Because that's what they're really here for, is your pretty face. Yes, they are. Now, watch your squirrels outside. He tried to run outside yesterday. Scared the crap out of me. He didn't get very far because it's raining. It wasn't the rain that stopped him. It's the fact that he wanted to play in the little puddle. So now I'm putting on the Decoville Heavy. Normally I use Sewikng Plus, but I have noticed the last couple of bags I've made, I've had to do a lot of extra work to get the wrinkles out when I do Sewikng Plus and Decoville Light. So I'm going to see how well this works. It is another reason why I'm moving away um, fabrics for most of my stuff. I do have plans, hopefully, to find that other piece I'm looking for. I know I cut you out. At least I hope I cut it out. I traced it. There it is. I do have plans to make a double zippered pouch classic zip around wallet. It came to me in a fever dream. So why does that seem wrong? Tonight. Maybe it's this one. Is this it? I think this is it. I think those are my zipper. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm apparently losing what sanity I do have. Let's try to put that in the right place. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yes. I plan on doing that as a live even, but it will most likely be a YouTube exclusive one. I'm trying to decide. So you'll want to subscribe to my YouTube to make sure that you get those notifications when I do pop on. I will make announcements on like Instagram and that, be like, hey, I'm going to be doing this. It's going to be crazy. I've got notes and I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm going to be able to put it together. I'm going to grab some purse feet real quick. Oh, purse feet. Purse feet, purse feet, purse feet. That's not it. Ah, nope. Madre de Dios, where are my purse feet at? Here they are. Yeah? Yep. Okay, good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. There we are. Then I've just got 2 more pieces. That is a nickel purse feet. You don't belong in there. Put you there right now. Let me get this last thing. Here we go. And then I've only made this bag once. I almost said cartoon. I watched Jen's video like 2 or 3 times. Tonight. I do love how the outside pocket is done, the outside slip. Though it makes me twitch just a little bit, mainly because I really want to match the fabrics just right so that you can't see it at all. But sorry, you're a weird noise. Okay, bear with me for just a moment. I've got one more thing to. One more thing I have to press, and then we will be off to the races. Okay. And I do like the zipper or the slip pocket. I have maneuvered and changed a few things. Okay, cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So I'm putting 5 purse feet on the bottom. The heat press is off, so the strobing should stop. I am going to go ahead and put my gloves on just to help with my hands. Good morning, Deborah. How are you? Good morning, everybody that's joining. So happy to have y'all here. I'm starting out late. It's been a morning, but I've got my coffee. All right. So before I put the purse feet on, I'm going to scooch this over here. Oh, my nose always itches. Okay. So my machine is a new Tech GS0303. I'm using Tech's 70, I want to say. Yes, Tech 70. This is the from Wawak. I really do like theirs a lot. Where is my toes are getting cold. For some reason, I'm like, I guess I don't need socks this morning, and yet here we are. The vote was for the dark glitter. Oh, I don't, older houses don't like certain voltages used at the same time, so it will make the lower voltage things act a little odd. In my kitchen, I have an air fryer and I have a Ninja toaster. I love that toaster because you can set it on its side and use it like a broiler or a little oven. And then I have my microwave. They're not plugged into the same outlet. They're plugged in 3 different outlets. But if I turn all 3 on, it pops the whole kitchen. Son of a. Oh, I'm doing good, Deborah. I am. I'm doing good enough to be here. It's one of those that I'm not feeling great, but I'm not pregnant. So there's always those fun things. Let's see. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to measure in to make sure that one, I put my interfacing right, which I did, but I'm just double checking to make sure that what lines I mark on the other side are actually going to cover. What in the world did they put on? Oh, they're doing that weird thing. Okay, that's fine. Sorry, the music was getting a little off. Okay. So wait, it kind of has a dual action for doing a top stitching around on your bottom piece. It makes it look, it kind of gives it nice decoration. And then it also, is that actually marking? That is awesome. But it also keeps your Decovil heavy from moving. I'm very secure in the fact that with my heat press, if I press it, it ain't going nowhere. However, it never hurts to have a little bit of extra security. Oh, that is, oh, Dinkles, that's not good. That is terrible. We had to have an electrician come in because something was going on with the outlets with the oven and the dishwasher. Thankfully, we rent, but there, it's never good when when the electrician comes in and goes, I don't know how drunk they were when they put that in, but it's not great. And I'm like, oh, glad we don't own this house. He was able to fix it, thankfully. Alrighty. Gloves always feel, until I get used to the gloves again, they always make me, I always feel a little awkward in them. Like I'm wearing mittens or something. Okay, so I have it marked. And I'm just going to go ahead and top stitch that. I'm going to actually go up to a 5 stitch on my machine so that it's a little decorative and it's not perforating too much. I don't back stitch. It's not really a construction stitch, and I don't mind pulling the threads back on this so that it looks seamless. Vinyl matches my nails. I'm trying to figure out a good software to be able to record on the webcam that I have. Ooh, and I'll get to show y'all the new item that's going to be coming soon to Fat Rabbit Supplies. If you're not sure you're going to be able to see your markings, you can also use washi tape or put a seam magnet. That helps sometimes as well. That hurt. Okay, that's that one. Nope. I have to figure out which one's which. There it goes. Okay, they got kind of tangled. Now, even better is I'm going to be putting tape along the back, but there it is. So, oh, here we go. So that blue looks really nice on that gold. Okay. So again, we're looking at 85%, so that's why it looks kind of smooth. Going to take, I don't like to let the silver sit too much. Come on. I need to place that top. Shotgun. Okay. Let that dry out over there. And now all my silver marks are gone. And it cleans it nicely too. Oh, it definitely comes with some nervousness sometimes. I say sometimes. Most of the time, because if you it's so easy to pick a color that's going to blend right in so that you don't really see it. Oh, I don't need that much tape right now, do I? But the contrast always just looks so nice. Okay, I am going to go ahead and tape those threads down. I don't want them to come loose. Okay, so tapes down those threads. And now we've got pretty much a nice seamless go around. Next time I might do 5.5, but I do want to remember to put my stitch length down. I do like that. Okay, now for the zipper's feet. I might have to use a different poking tool. Where did I get the glue off? I think I got the glue off. I had a piece of my nail coming up, so I decided to super glue it myself. And I was using this to dip the super glue into there, and I thought my husband was going to have a heart attack when he saw me doing that. He's like, why are you putting sharp things so close to your flesh? I'm like, Thing is, I do have a cut from a dull rotary blade. What was I going to do? Here we go. And ruler. Alrighty. So let's see. So I do an odd number because I like to put one straight in the middle so that the bag isn't sagging in. It has that extra little piece of support. That looks about right. Okay. And I think for this, I'm going to do 1 inch in. Yeah. Oh, snaky. Only problem sometimes with glitter vinyl is how sticky it is. So I'm going in 1 inch from my stabilizer. And I always do them at an angle when I cut them. Yeah, I like that. But some of the super glue kind of stuck on the blade, and I'm out because last year I was supposed to grab some when I was at Dragon Con. However, I forgot because I got overexcited because they had new scissors. It is a pain in the butt sometimes how easily I forget things. All right. I get them in there, and I make sure that they're pushed down nicely. With such a small bag this way, I don't feel the need to put the foam or any foam on it, but I believe with the full scale Mr. Heckles, I did put foam on it as well. Like I put it right over, mainly so it would have just a little bit of squish in case somebody wanted to put a device in the bottom or like an iPad or something in it. It does. All right. The tape I'm using is a paper tape. It is one of my favorite tapes to use on the inside of bags. I like it better than the duct tape usually. Ooh. Oh, you're good. Okay. And I know I can sew through it, so I don't mind it going over the stabilizer. But if you don't think it can sew through, then yeah, you're going to want to not go into your seam. But so that's the bottom done. I think that's about all my prep, but I mean, I've got a couple of other things. So this is the slip pocket. So I'm not doing one the length of the bag like it has you do. So I didn't worry about doing a scaled measurement. So this is a 10 by 10 square. And I drew a line 3/4 of an inch in. And what that does is that creates a 3/8 seam allowance on the side. So whenever you have to fold something, like if you have to fold something over a 1/2 inch, if you draw a line if you double the measurement that you need, so in this case, a 1/2 inch, you get 1 inch. So if you draw a line at 1 inch and then fold to that line, you're getting that 1/2 inch and you're not having to figure out where the line is on the inside. And really, we're just going to throw stuff on the ground this morning, apparently. Okay. Let's see. We have a cute Kirby print. Happy You Exist. Looks kind of fun. You Make Life Sweet would be kind of cute. There's always the classic You Look Really Pretty Today. Who doesn't want to be told they look pretty today? Oh no. I have ones I haven't put away. Enjoy the little things. Aquarius, happy birthday. That's so cute. I've actually used quite a few of those happy birthday ones because when I'm told that it's a birthday present, I'm like, well, why not just put a little bit of that in there? I don't know. Does Kirby have an astrological sign? I think. So, what do y'all think? The You Make Life Sweet or Happy You Exist? That is a tough choice. I'm going to put both of those there. Come on. Oh my Lord, there we go. I'm not lying. I'm having a morning. She's going to turn into quite the afternoon. I just know it. See, that's what I was thinking. The Happy You Exist would be cute and it would stand out nicely. That's the top runner. So I folded in my sides on my slip pocket. Now, normally what I would do is I would sew them right sides or wrong sides together. Feel like Instagram can't see very well. Not my fault. I would normally do wrong sides together and then fold over a piece of vinyl, matching vinyl. However, what we're going to do today is I have a piece of vinyl that I cut at 1.5, I folded wrong sides together and glued it. You can use double-sided tape. I've just been like trying not to sew through too much double-sided tape. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm not gonna line up each end because it's a little bit bigger. And that's so I can trim it. Okay. But to one right side, I'm going to clip it. Make sure on the back that it's actually lined up properly. Then I'm going to take the other side and keeping right sides together, I'm going to clip that. Come here, you clip. Making sure the sides match up nicely. Now, this is a super thick vinyl. It's what I call an old school glitter vinyl. So it has that canvas backing, which is great, but it's thick and sticky and can be challenging in some places. Like it's going to be challenging pulling this back through for sure because of how thick it is. However, I know it's going to look pretty. And this is what y'all voted for. I had a nice, simple gold, like shiny gold gator, but y'all were like, no, we want the sparkle. I get it. I always want the sparkle too. Sorry, I just bent the crap out of one of my clips. There we go. Both of us knowing. So I'm sewing at 1/4 of an inch, which is why the first time I did this, I did a 1-inch piece and it took off like a lot more than I wanted it to of the vinyl because I really like having that piece peeking out. So I added that extra bit to it. And I do like this method a lot too, because when you fold over a piece of vinyl over the edge, you still have that vinyl raw edge. And while it's not going to fray or anything, I have sensory situations. I don't know. I don't want to call it issues. I'm very sensitive to sensory things. So every time I know with my bag, every time I put my hand in and it scrapes against my hand, even the littlest bit, it bothers me. So what we're going to do is we're going to push this in. And then we're going to stick our hand into the other side, grab that, and try not to raccoon. There we go. So raccoons are very smart, but they're also not very smart because what they will do is they will stick their hand into something. They'll like get that in and they'll grab it and then they'll keep trying to pull it out even if it won't fit when all they have to do is let go of what they have. Have you ever shoved your hand to the bottom of a Pringles can and it's hard to get your hand back out because you won't let go of those chips? Yeah, that's raccooning. I do it a lot more than I really should admit. I might have to go grab my trail mix though. I'm starting to get hungry already. So I'm taking my So I have it like this because I'm going to press this seam and then I'm going to push it over and press this seam as well. And you could do this without a vinyl. Like you could do this with a waterproof canvas or another fabric. If you do it with a fabric, I would say interface it with a nice stiff interfacing, like a scrap piece of Decoville Heavy or something. And then you would have that peeking out as well. But there it is. Bam. So what I'm going to do, she does not have you top stitch this at all. I am, however, going to top stitch along here, along this area, not along the vinyl. I have to find my... Hi, Tiamat. You've been very, very needy this morning. What's going on? Did you eat something you weren't supposed to? It's the third time she's been in here to ask for affection. Usually means she plans on sleeping on my pillow later. I wouldn't be mad about her sleeping on my pillow, but she sheds so much. Okay. So now I have that top stitched. And what I'm going to do is trim. I trim the sides of the vinyl so they are even with the pocket itself. And then when I install the pocket, I'll also install a rivet here and here on the top so that it, there we go. There we go. Camera's being a pain in the butt. Yeah, I mean, when she did it, I was like, well, now I almost feel dumb because it almost feels so obvious. And then what I do with a woven label is before I attach the pocket to the lining, I put that right in between those two layers. Just hear some buzzing. Sorry. All right, so I'm going to stick those right there. I'll put those back later. But yeah, so I stick it in between. That way it's not on the inside of the pocket at all. It's pretty much all the raw edges are covered. So I'm going to set that aside. And I'm actually going to pull up the pattern instructions. Actually, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get some trail mix time. Oh. You okay out there, buddy? Now I have my trail mix. So, yep, that would be first. Got my cute little red panda bowl. I just have to make sure I don't accidentally put my clips into my trail mix bowl. Okay. There you are. Maybe. Okay. 2.5. Okay, that's what I thought. I don't know why I turned off the iPad. I need. Okay, so I remember the steps sort of, but if I've only made the bag like once or twice, then nope, this way. Okay, so I've got my mitts marked. There's my ruler. I'm going to mark my seam allowance so that I have that. When you mark your seam allowance, make sure that the marking item that you're using isn't going to be seen on the other side of your fabric. Now, I am marking both because I'm not 100% sure where I'm going to end up stitching. So, morning, everyone. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to birth this bag or if I'm going to do a drop-in. So I'm going to mark my fold over line just in case I decide to do a drop-in. Because it's a small bag, but it should be fine being birthed as well. Okay, so it says 2. Yep. Put these together. And then I'm going to mark where I stop and start too. This is such an interesting way to put a slip pocket in. I do like it a lot. Okay. So I do have to do a slightly different measurement. Because the measurements in the pattern are for the 100%. So because I'm doing it 85, I have to take that number times 0.85 to come to the number that I need on here. And Jennifer from Sincerely Jen, she does have a video on doing this as well. I'm just going to go right across here to that mark. Back stitch real well, and I'm just going to jump on over to the other spot and continue my stitching. Good morning, Heart. How are you? Your box should be on the way. Or did I already send yours? I don't know. I have like no memory skills. This is why everything has to be written down. Boop. I'm making the Mr. Heckles by Sincerely Jen at 85%. What does it tell me to do next? So I did that. So, sew together. Make sure to back stitch. Yes, there is. So there is that spot. No, take a little Muppet. Anyways, I'm a little loopy today. Cherry and a cashew. Okay, so it says to fold down the top seam of the back top. So I'm just kind of creasing it just a smidge. It's a cute bag. It really is. The pieces are, just remember that most of the pieces don't have a lot of straight edges, which is a bit of a pain. But works out really nicely for the shape. Okay, so I have pulled down the seam of the shorter piece. Then it says to, there you are. That's inside. There we go. And it says to take one exterior slip pocket panel, right side down, centered over the interior back. Now, I'm trying to decide because my numbers may have been off, but I can't quite tell if it would overlap. I think it's going to be okay because of the handles are going to seal in the edges. Okay, so we're going to I knew this was going to happen. I tried to grab some almonds to clip together my pieces. So a tip to help with the cost of your bag is I buy this waterproof canvas. I just buy like 5 or 6 yards at a time. And mainly what I use it for are for zip-lined pieces that aren't going to aren't really going to be seen that much and don't affect the bag too harshly. So it does make it a little bit more inexpensive because you're not using the really nice lining for, a zipper pocket. Okay. So now I'm going to sew these together at a 1/4 inch. Alrighty. Okay. So this is the right side. This is the right side. This is the wrong side. If you put your hand through the hole and you can see your fingers, you're doing good. I almost messed up this part like twice because I just was skipping a word. It's what happens when you teach yourself how to speed read. You start skipping words and then your mind's like, oh, let's just skip them all. I'm like, what's the point? All right. Now we're going to flip this over. Fold up. Or it says fold the seam allowance of the exterior back bottom and the attached exterior slip pocket down away from the top. So like that. So like, yeah. Okay. Okay, so I've got it to where the back's facing up. This is what we just sewed. So we're going to put wrong sides together and we're going to have the other seam still there. And now we're going to put the other piece we had. Clip the center. With this pocket, it is pretty important that you're centering everything nicely, because otherwise your seams aren't going to get caught in the handle placement. And if you're changing your handle placement, you need to keep that in mind with this pocket, because that's the handles being sewn on are what seal the sides of this pocket. Okay, so I have that together. Now we're going to sew this at 1/4 of an inch. And that weird humming I said I was hearing is because the house behind us is having some lawn work done and they're working on the trees. Excuse me. Dry nuts. Boy, that could get me banned on a couple of things. Anyways, let's see. What do we got? My mother says, when you're gonna live your life right. Alrighty. Okay, so this is what we should have. Wrong side of the back with the black and the what dry nuts are this? I never really know. Oh, pineapple. This one has like these huge chunks of pineapple in it. And I like it, except they're really, really big chunks of pineapple. What the hell? Okay. This is what we have now. So what we're going to do, it says fold the exterior back top away from the exterior back bottom. Pressing seam allowance is open. Okay. One exterior slip pocket panel will be wrong sides together. And the exterior back top will be wrong sides together. Okay, so I see. You don't come and hide away from the rest of the world. Okay, hang on. Okay, hold. So fold exterior back top away from back bottom. Got it. Pressing seams open. One exterior slip pocket panel will be wrong sides together with the exterior back top, and the other will be wrong sides together with top stitch above and below. See, a lot of times the mother of God. It made me verify. It's probably because I said dry nuts 4 or 5 times. Yes, I am. I am making the Mr. Heckles, but scaled down to 85%. I'm like, either or, I'm good. Alrighty. So, pretty much what you're doing is on the wrong side, you're splitting open these so that it talks. Then you're taking your seams, which should already be nicely laying flat, butterflied open, and you're lifting up that seam. So I will say this can get a little bulky. This is a very, very cute what are you doing there? Way to do a slip pocket, especially to do one that's kind of a hidey hole slip pocket. Trying to get this to sit properly. Okay, let me see. Now you can use tape under these seams to get them to kind of stay down. Because I'm using fabric, I will say I can use a little bit of a glue stick. Because I've noticed that a lot of, where are you going? There are some double-sided tapes that don't really like the fabric. However, a glue stick loves fabric for some reason. Okay, so I have that open. Because you don't want to pull too much, but you want to pull enough that it's actually going to sit properly and not be obvious. Okay, so I'm going to pull this one down. I'm just using, I think I got these from Target like ages ago when they were on sale. School supplies are the best time of year to get random sewing supplies. Ooh, let me do that. Okay. There you are. The top's going to be a little bit of a problem because of that 1/4 inch seam allowance. It's half of what you did. So if you do it from the other side, if you open your seams in that from the other side, it's going to sit better. Okay. Whew. It's a workout. Okay, yeah, see, that sits much better. See, now you can't even really see it. I do love that he's peeking out, though. Look at him, he's peeking out. He's so cute. I love how that looks. Okay, so whoop, that should sit much better now. Got it. There we go. Just giving it one more press. Okay, now we top stitch. One eighth. Now, doing 1/8 means you really shouldn't be going through the top lining. Okay, oops, sorry, YouTube. All right, let me get those. Okay, so this is what I mean, is this is still completely free. The top stitching is right under it. And the same with the other. So she says in the pattern, you shouldn't be top stitching through this, which does help when you're top stitching if you're going through thicker materials. There's so many almonds in this trail mix though, but it is like 3 bags of different trail mixes thrown together. Okay. When we put that back down, we're going to lay those out nicely. And you're supposed to do a 1/2 inch, but I think I'll actually do a little bit less. Where are you at? So you're supposed to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance here. I feel like, hang on, TikTok. There we go. Now you can see it a little better. So you're supposed to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance here. I think I am going to do a 1/2 inch because this is supposed to be just a phone pocket. And these are also things you need to take into consideration when you shrink a project. Is the phone going to fit? Which my phone will. That's a mini iPad, so. All right, so we have that clipped. I'll lift that up. Also, anytime you do these types of pockets or like a zipper pocket like this with the overlay, you can cut one lining piece a 1/2 inch shorter and they'll line up really nicely. But if you're like bulk cutting like I do, sometimes you don't remember that. But the shorter piece has to go on the lower end of the zipper. So see how this one's a little bit longer? If I'd cut this if I'd cut one a 1/2 inch shorter, or at least a 1/4 inch, it looks like it would have lined up nicely, but I would have had to make sure it was on this bottom part, not the top, because then it would have been way short. Now I'm going to trim this down a little bit. Okay. I'm going to remove the clips. But there is something I'm going to do. I'm going to try and see how this works. I'm just going to put some of this glue here. I'm going to put my hands right across the seam and then I'm going to push down. Now, what I'm hoping that's going to do is just kind of glue baste it so that it doesn't move around a lot. If you do a seam roller, go from left to right and then go in the direction that you want that to go down. But that is the pocket. And you really, like I said, a part of me wants to cut it so that it looks completely seamless. There is a way, but I just didn't have time because yesterday I was cutting this out at like 7 o'clock at night going crap, 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 crap. All right, so we're going to set that aside and kind of let that glue dry. I'm actually going to put my nut bowl on top of it because there's just, look at this. There's just like mostly nuts. It's like, where's the fruit? So mad. I'll get some dried fruit to add to it probably. Okay, next step. Hooray! Handles. Which means I need hardware. I love my chunky hardware. That chunky hardware makes me so happy. Look at those thick things. Oh, they're so thick. Okay, so I buy my hardware through my hardware guy that does my tags and stuff. And I buy like 200 or 300 at a time of each. I almost said flavor. Of each finish. So it is a pricey endeavor, but it means that I don't run out for a while until suddenly I do. And I'm like, well, all right, that should be good. Okay, I'm going to set this over here. Okay. Okay. Something I do want to do before I forget is I want to put my tag on here. I need a tag. Oh, mother of God, why? I should actually have one over here. Whee! And this is the zipper pull that I'm using. It's so cute. Look at how happy he is. He's chunky too. He's big. Here we go. Almond for scale. Normally you do banana for scale. I'm sorry. I'm in a little bit of a weird place today. Okay, we're gonna have to do that. Okay, sorry if I'm shaking y'all. So I'm trying to decide if I want to do that shaker, how I want to do the shaker flap for the itty bitty bowler, the Beetlejuice one I cut out last week. Because I found on Amazon little Beetlejuice heads, and they're so cute. But at the same time, I'm like, they're $12, and what else am I going to use them for? Whereas if I get like some some bright, like glowy looking sprinkles to put inside, I think it'll look really good, and it won't be so specific. That's just in my thought process right now. Sorry, I'm chewing. Okay, so I'm going to put my name tag on so I don't forget. So this is a 2.5 by a 1.5 piece. And then I clip the corners. You can edge coat this as well. But it's just the background for my tag. Here we go. It looks really nice. It brings in together the contrast. All right. Again, this is another one that I do pull back the threads because, again, it's not really a construction stitch per se. And I do lower my stitch length on this, and that is for aesthetics. I have yet to have any issues with it coming off. I don't go like overboard, but I do drop down to like a 2.5 on this. Oh God, that scared the crap out of me. What is that? Great, now I'm seeing things in the camera. Like right there. You see it? Right there. You see that? It looks like a face. Instagram ain't getting it, but boy howdy, TikTok. It looks like there's a little monster and it is freaking me out. Oh, I listened to too many horror books. What is that? Okay, hold on. I gotta like mess up stuff over here real quick. Maybe that'll help. Maybe the little monster will leave me alone. Nope, motherfucker, he's still there. I have no idea what that is. Well, if I disappear suddenly, you know what did it. Hope somebody's screen recording this, because good God. Fairies and ghosts and random shadows in the night. My husband is a very patient man, because I have yet to get the threat of, one more time you screaming in the middle of the night or leaving the bathroom light on, and I'm going to make you stop reading horror stories. There we go. Ta-da! Isn't that pretty? There you go, Instagram. Now you can see it too. Oh, let me move my stitch length back up, because otherwise that will be bad. The smaller stitch lengths let me go around the corners a little bit better too. Okay. I used to do a lot of measuring, and I have found that it's just easier if I use the actual plate. Go. And get out of washer. So sometimes I get them to where they're kind of half bent. So what you want to do is grab it. There we go. Pull it kind of up and then pull it out. And when I say pull, I mean pull. And then you should be able to get that kind of straightened out. Ta-da! I mean, you're going to be bending it anyways, but this also lets you know if your label creator, your tag creator, is taking any weird shortcuts, or if this is going to last. I have yet to have one break on me. I have gotten one without the prongs on it, but that was just an oops, which happens. Okay, so I put it right there in the middle. I know with my measurements for my tag that if I line up the bottom of the tag to the bottom of the, if I line the bottom of the metal tag to the vinyl piece and then curve up, there we go, and then just kind of put a little pressure so that it makes indents. There they are. There you are. Make sure that your fingers are out of the way. So I just make sure that I've got it steadied, and then I put my finger where I'm going to, and then before I push in, I move it. So this way I'm making a conscious effort to know that my finger is out of the way of where the tag is, or where the knife is going to come through. Blade to blade. Ta-da! Yeah, I love how that looks. Okay. So then I take my strings. I haven't tied them or anything. They're pulled to the back, though, without back stitching. I take my strings and I wrap them around the prongs. There we go. I put the washer on, push down. So that's one way those strings are going to be, come on you, secured. And then I'm going to also put a piece of tape over the prongs. And I will say the tape over the prongs is less to protect the vinyl, the lining, and more to protect my hands when I'm turning this out. Before I tape all the way, though, I go back and make sure that it's sitting straight. It is sitting nice and straight. Okay, boop, boop. All right, so that's taken care of. So that's good. Now, for the handle pieces, so I need my 4 pieces of handle, my 4 rectangle rings. If you are using swivel clips so that they're detachable handles, don't use rectangle rings, because it's going to pull on one corner some days and on the other days, or it might just stay in one. And what it's going to do is cause this stress point here to yank, and it will eventually come off because it's being pulled in the direction that it wasn't meant to be. This is where you would want to use D-rings, which I will be using D-rings on the side because that's for the crossbody strap that is detachable. So we're going to fold in. So I've already, at the cutting table, I marked my centers. Hang on. Where'd you go? Okay. The tape backing, Tiamat, when she gets anxious or stressed, she likes to eat this. So I have to make sure it actually goes into the trash and that she's not left alone in this room. So I already marked my centers as I cut it out, and then I put a 1/2-inch piece down the middle. Normally I put a 1/4-inch piece, but I know this vinyl and I know how thick it is. So I know that it's not going to want to stick on, 1/8 of an inch. Tori from Seems Legit. I love watching her do her handles because she can sit there. She can do both sides at once. And it's one of those that I know I could do it. It's just right now, it wouldn't be as fast as I like. So as you can see, it's curling. It'll be fine. Oh, fun. Ooh, chores. Oh, chores. I have to do the dishes. It's why we had pizza last night. He's like, what's for dinner? I'm like, whatever I don't have to cook. Into the trash can. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do the dishes. And I don't like cooking in a kitchen that's got dishes in the sink. It bothers me. Go. So we're just going to do this to each of them. If you don't want that curl, that's where doing it at the same time, or just pressing down, not sliding along, and then using a seam roller will help. See, not that much curl. So the way Tori does it, and the way I've seen others, some do it, is you start on the end with both in the center, and then you, as you go down, push those together. And the problem is that the only way to get fast at something is to get good at something. And the only way to get good at something is to do it more than once. And that can be difficult, especially if you have a way that is quicker. But see, there's no twist at all. Morning, Joy. I'm telling you, man. And I have all the stuff to make macaroni and cheese, and I've been craving it. And there's a leftover ham in the fridge, and I want ham. But I don't want just ham because the last couple of days it's been snacking ham. AKA I go in there and get the ham out of the pot and eat some of it cold like a heathen. I'm sorry, cold like a peasant or something. I don't know. A monster. Ooh, I have some leftover pizza too for lunch. That'll be nice. And I wasn't feeling good this morning. So at one point, my husband's like, well, we got to go. I'm like, you know what? Just grab the keys and go. Because I don't want to leave the house. If I leave the house, I will be in the newspaper. See, nice and straight. So you can get better at something. It just takes a little bit of extra patience, and as much as some of us think that we don't have it, we really do. Because if we're sewing, we have more patience than we give ourselves credit for. The fact that I had to go and fix that gusset and did not melt down, I'm very proud of myself. Because like even a few months ago, I would have just like put it aside and not like even thought about it for a day or two and been real upset about it. And don't get me wrong, I was kind of pissed, but it was almost laughable because I'm like, Liz, you bitch, why didn't you label this? And even my husband's like, you label everything. You have hundreds of Post-its in there. I'm like, I know. I don't know why. This one's even color coded, and I didn't color code a part. So you have the patience. Joy, I'm making the Mr. Heckles by Sincerely Jen, but I'm doing it at 85%. I wanted to see how cute it would be smaller. Which is so weird because I used to be such a big bag girly, but now I'm like, I've streamlined some of my stuff that I carry with me. And the fabric that I'm using, this is from, this is an upcoming pre-order from Night Till Dawn Fabrics, and I love it. Fat Rabbit should have a corresponding webbing. I need to order it. I've been waiting to order it with the pre-order for the carpet royalty webbing. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. The curling can make it a little bit more difficult, but it's not impossible. Mainly I'm just making sure that now that I've trimmed them, excuse me, they're all the same. Okay, so now what I have to do is figure out how long they're supposed to be. because there's a measurement in the pattern. The problem is because I'm doing a smaller measurement, I have to take the number of the measurement times 0.85. Okay. Oh, don't do that. Where are you at? Okay, good. So now I know the measurement that I need. And I've got my little tape measure tape down here. Okay, so what I do is I put one end at the right measurement. And I'm going to mark, actually, I'm just going to get some tape and do it this way. So what we're going to do is I've got it measure on my measuring tape on my, I'm going to do that. Okay, so this is a tool tape. It's like a carpenter's tape. And it's been really nice because I don't even realize it's down there. It barely does that. Like barely shows up, not shows up. You can barely feel it. It's very thin and it's really nice to have on here. So I've got mine are welded together. So there's a spot where it shows that. So I put my ring on there. I line up. I do like that Jen puts the final measurement. That helps a lot. So I'm going to line up the ring with the beginning mark, with the 0 mark. I'm going to do mine a little bit shorter. I'm going to do mine just a little bit shorter, and that's because I have these thick rings. And I want to make sure that I'm able to sew up to, yeah, okay. So because the rings are thick, you can see it has that bulk there. I'm wanting to make sure that when I sew up these to attach that, I'm actually able to go across that piece. And if it's too short, then, oh, that worked out nicely. Okay, cool. Bad medicine is what I need. Whoa, pick it up and say bad medicine. Okay, so I don't have to keep doing this though. I'm using 1/2 inch. Like I said, this is some old school glitter vinyl, and it has a tendency to be thick, and when folded on itself, like I know some sewists who have industrial machines that wouldn't even think to use it for straps, or that they don't like to use it for straps either, because when you fold it, because that's just 2 layers. So when you fold in for 4, it's thick. There's just something really thick about an old school glitter vinyl. But look at that gold. You see that gold? It's gorgeous. It's like this deep amber gold. I got it mainly to do a Lord of the Rings bag, because doesn't that look like something Schmog would just like lay on and be in heaven about? I think so. I think Schmog would do it. Schmog. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Okay, so I'm putting that against. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is, once I hit one of them, those together. And see, I can see that one is just a smidge longer than the other. At that point, I'm just going to trim that off. Actually, it's just with this thicker vinyl. There we go. Between the thicker vinyl and the thicker rings, it can be a little troublesome to try to get it exactly the same. Come on, you. Let's do that. Interesting. Okay, that's fine. Go. Like I said, I'm just kind of making sure they're all the same. Now, on my original Mr. Heckles that I did at 100%, I used a panel. And the panel image was a little wider than the measurement of, of where the handle placements were. So I ended up doing 6 inches apart total. So it was 3 from the middle on each side. And it did fit very nicely. I think it held the handles really well. But I know I don't want to do that far apart on such a small bag. Meow. Meow. Well, come on. No. Come on. What are you doing? Oh, no. My cat's being weird again. There we go. Okay, so 4 should be fine. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some tape. And you can see it sticks to itself, so that's always fun. It's from the bottom, isn't it? Yep, okay. All right, where's my... Hang on. Lord. Okay. Now you want a nice long ruler for this so that you can match up your centers. I think on here, no, I'm going to go ahead and use... Okay. So So you have a couple of options when you're taping down your handles. I already have a piece of tape holding that down. So I'm just going to kind of go up a little bit on the wrong side, and I'm just going to put a piece of tape here. Oh. Make sure that's the wrong side. Okay. You can do a full piece. Just remember what you're having to sew over. Oops. Okay, let me set this back up. So I've already figured out where I'm putting my handles. Or how far apart I'm putting them. Okay. So it's nice is on the regular size Mr. Heckles, I can use just the whole ruler. Sadly, with this size, I have to slide it down. Okay, that should be good. That's two. And then I take a ruler and I make sure that it looks the same on both sides. So 1/7. Okay. Okay, so here we are. So I'm going to go up one side and over one. Okay, we'll see where how close I'm able to get to that ring, because that'll determine if I end up putting a rivet there, which I usually do. Make sure my stitch length is good. I'm going to get just a smidge closer. So, also when you're sewing up, make sure that the bottom piece where it's folded isn't poking out, that everything is cinched in nicely. So I'm going to go half a stitch up. There we go. Okay, so as close as I am to this ring right now, the best way is to back out of the room. So I'm going to turn it back the way I was sewing up. And I'm going to carefully go back 1, 2, and then I should be able to turn it around and then finish stitching down. Let me do the other side. Now to make sure I'm even, I'm going to stitch to the same place I did. I'm using the stitching on my slip pocket to kind of give me an idea of where I'm at. Okay. Do a couple stitches back out. Go. Turn back around. Excuse me. Okay. So now I've got those two handles. Got my wee little pocket, which is indeed a wee little pocket. I probably should have done a little bit more over, but it should be enough to be able to put a phone in and then to pull that back out without too much issue. Or, to be fair, that's a good sunglasses pocket as well. So you just put your sunglasses in there, because I wear prescription. So when I'm wearing my sunglasses, I'm able to put my prescription glasses on the top of my head. But when I go into the store, my sunglasses are a little wonky, so they don't like to sit on my head because they're a pain in the butt. So this way, with a little pocket like that, it would help me to have that to put my sunglasses in. I like that little pocket. I wonder how that would work on the Carlotta, having that little sneaky pocket that way instead of the one that she does. Both are really great. I'm just wondering. I like to mash up patterns a lot because everybody has so many great ideas that work nicely. Actually, I don't think it needs a rivet. That may change. We'll see. For now, I don't know where my rainbow rivets are, so something I do to make sure that that everything is lined up. So I line up my bottoms here. And I mark on the other side where the handles are. That does help to keep everything nice and... Ooh, a walnut. It keeps everything nice and even. Oh. Let's hope my luck isn't going to run out. Yep. Woo! I was a wee bit on the worried side that my tag was going to be in the way. I mean, it's not going to make it easier to place the handles, but right. So we have our tape. Go. Okay, let me peel this off. And it does match up with my mark, my measurement, so that's good. I'm just going to kind of... Okay, there we go. I don't have tape there. I'm going to put a clip just to kind of make sure that it stays put. Okay. Definitely would have been easier to put these on and then put my tag on. Yeah, 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 yeah. Why do you look taller? Oh, in memoriam of this bag is one clip. Yep, it's got to go down just a smidge. Oh, Sherry, I love. There we go. Okay. Oh, that doesn't go there. Okay, dokie. Sorry, I'm being a little extra here. Just trying to make sure everything's nice and straight. Goodness. Okay, so as you can see right here, it has this little bit of the corner that's coming out. When I get up to that area, I'm going to push that underneath. Right now, I'm just trying to make sure that it's actually sitting straight. It's bothering me. Try this again. And it is usual that I put a full piece of tape, so I am learning my lesson on that. Just go with a full piece of tape. Okay, that's better. Nothing like handles that are long, that, you know, aren't in a nice straight line. Okay, so as I get closer up to where the folded edge is, I'm just going to go ahead and push it and make sure that it's underneath. Okay. And then on the other side, I'm going to make sure it's kind of pushed under a little as well. Go all the way to the other side. You definitely want to go slow when you're backing out of the room, and that's because it could, when you backstitch, it's a little hard to see if you're lined up properly. So by going slow, you can adjust stitch by stitch. I really hope the bobbin doesn't get me. Teddy Ruxpin. Ooh. I might have a smidge too much caramel syrup in there. I'm still going to drink it, though. And again, I'm making sure to kind of shove that under. I think I can go up one more. Sometimes if you can get really close to your ring, that's what's going to help you not need a rivet, unless you just want it to look pretty or prettier. Because listen, I'm not going to lie. Y'all chose a good vinyl. This gold looks amazing. All right, so then we have those. Now, mainly what I'm trying to decide is I can easily put one over on this side. I can put the rivets with no problem, and it'll go through all the thicknesses. However, good morning, Anane. It is hump. Is it hump day? Good Lord. I think I thought it was Saturday. Oh, I don't know what day it is anymore. I need to put like a calendar or something that changes. The problem with one over here is that if I put one in, I didn't get quite as close as I probably should have. So right here is the end of that. If I put one in, I'm just going to be cutting through part of it. But the pressure of the rivet might also help. So that's what I'm going to mainly be thinking about. When I have it all together, I'll see how it feels. And if I like it, if I think that the rivets would be useful and would look better, then that's fine. But if I think that the rivets aren't quite necessary, especially on this where, this is what I was talking about, by the way. See how it completely sealed that pocket. It looks like I honestly could have gone a little further apart, but it's a new bag pattern. It's only the second time I've been doing it. So it's going to be a little experimenting here and there, especially with the different size, but I think it looks so adorable so far. All right, what are we doing now? We are doing and I said I was going to do rainbow. Oh, mother of God, I've got Post-its everywhere. Okay, bam. I guess I'm going to do my strap later because I forgot about it. But I'm going to go ahead and use webbing for my crossbody strap instead of the vinyl. Two reasons for that. One, look at that webbing. That's going to be so cute. And two, that vinyl is really, really thick. I don't mind doing the handles because it's a long piece. But when it's shorter and it's that thick, it's going to look bulky. Hang on one second. Good God, what are we feeding you, smelly cat? Lords. We just changed food, and I think we are changing back. There have been... Woo, good thing I love you, little boy. I gotta remember how long these are supposed to be. I think they're supposed to be 3. Okay, so yes. I have to go get my room spray. Good Lord. Okay. My cat wanted to remind me that they live here too, then they just did that. God, little buddy, that's awful. Okay. So I've got my 2 pieces. I'm going to make sure that everything's nice and cinched. Ooh. Okay. Oh. Okay, so here we are with our D-rings, and the webbing also will tie in with the webbing that I'm going to use on the back of the handles, as well as the crossbody strap. In fact, before I do this, I'm going to do my handles. I really like having those out of the way. Is the webbing 13? Yes. Okay. So it was fun the other night. I woke up with probably about 10% of the bed. The bad part about that is the 10% was in the middle, because my husband has new pillows and they're large and he's not used to them yet. They're king size. And so he's getting used to them. So he ends up scooting closer into the middle, which I don't mind. I like him being close. The problem is that during the night, Charlie had decided to push my Figment off the bed. The Figment is one of those little sleepy Disney animals, stuffed animals. And I sleep with it so that I have something under my arm. And because it's soft and cuddly. I don't understand why they tell us to stop sleeping with stuffed animals. Screw that. They're comfortable. But I sleep with it under my arm so that my arm doesn't hurt in the morning. So Charlie apparently had pushed it off in the middle of the night and was laying out, but he was taking up like a good quarter of the bed. And I woke up like in this little itty bitty space, and I'm like, I don't want to wake Aaron up because he had a couple of hard nights of getting to sleep. And Charlie's so adorable and he's cuddled up against me. Of course, I don't want to wake him up. So I'm like, well, I guess this is how I'm sleeping now, is in between these two. I finally kind of had to wriggle a little bit so that I could go to the bathroom. But I didn't know he had pushed Figment off the bed until I came back and saw it just like halfway across the room. I was like, geez, Charlie. Figment in your spot? What's going on there? I was like, did I cut handles? I was in such a rush to get all of this done that I'm really not sure if I cut half the stuff I need. So I've got my handles, and I did cut them a little bit shorter because it's a small bag. So they're actually going to be hand handles. Maybe arm crook, but definitely not shoulder strapping, because I do have them very short. I also cut a piece of webbing. So these are 2 inches wide by the length. And then I have the webbing for the other side of it, but the webbing is cut short so that I can fold over the webbing and not have, 2 layers of that as well. So I have a piece of 1/2 inch wide double-sided tape, and then my line drawn in. I'm just going to quickly do these. Now I am going to work pretty hard to make sure these aren't twisted because they're not going to be sewn down. So I want to make sure that they're not twisted up on the bag. They should be fine, even if they have a little twist. If you do end up with them twisted, if you sew them in the same direction, then that does help to keep the twist from getting worse. You can also, you don't have to push both sides down at the same time. You can do a little of one side and then go over and do the other. So you're still doing it on the same, in the same direction. Okay, let's see how that looks. Sometimes it feels like it comes out bumpy. Bum, 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 bum. Hi, Stinky Butt. How are you? Nobody wants to see your butt. Can I have a kiss for what you've done? Thank you. Thank you. At least your breast's starting to smell like cat food and not, I don't know what. Yes, it is a very glittery vinyl. And hello, by the way. It's what I call an old school glitter vinyl because it is thick and the coating is thick and it feels thick. Whereas if you get a glitter vinyl from like Lauren Mormino, hers is, I'm looking to see if I've got some. I know I do. I've got this pretty pink over there. It's like, I know I could have done a pink vinyl, but it seems like the obvious choice. And on the fabric I'm using with Kirby, he's got a little crown and there's a couple little yellow stars. So I thought that would be really cute. Oh, I haven't heard this one in a while. I got my 80 station on. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let me get this scene. And it's like there's a nice advantage sometimes to glitter vinyl. It's the same disadvantage is that it sticks to itself. But that's the problem too, is that it sticks to itself. Yeah, and this is nice and shiny. Well, even the ones that aren't like you wouldn't think they're domestic, just to be domestic friendly. It's, see, this is the one that I've got from her. It still has a thickness to it, but it doesn't feel as unwieldy. And I think it's because it's got this super soft suede on the back. So I do like hers a lot. This I got from Sewing Studio in Florida. If you go to So Magical, they're usually there. But I also end up going to the store whenever I go down to visit my family. In fact, I'm not going to say that I plan my holiday trip around the New Year's Eve sale, but yeah. So I did 2 inches, so I folded it in. So now it's 1 inch. So we have that raw edge there. To cover that, I'm going to use some webbing. And that way it's got that little pop of color under it. A really nice thing too is if you're a little short on the vinyl that you're using, you can go down to where this is 3/4 of an inch and use the 1 inch webbing, and you'll be able to see the webbing a little bit more, and you can still use your 1 inch hardware. So I just need, where's my tape? I'm also kind of using the 1/2 inch tape because I'm going to need to order 1/4 inch soon. Yeah, that's what you want to do. Ow. So I'm putting a piece of tape on the webbing because the webbing is shorter. And mainly I'm just wanting to put the scissors down there. Here we go. I'm wanting to make sure that these are set to go when the bag is done. And so I can pin them when the outside's done. I'll kind of clip them to make sure that they're going to work out nicely. And so that everything fits, because I'm doing the Mr. Heckles at 85%. So it's a little bit of experimenting. And if I don't like a measurement that I used, I'll go back into my pattern book and write a note. Okay. So I cut my... Oh, that's right. I did go a little bit longer. That's fine. So I usually cut my webbing about 2 inches shorter than the handle itself. And I'll show you in a moment why I do that. Which that would be fine, but I forgot I cut the handles a little bit longer than my notes, but that's okay. We can make that work. And if not, I'll cut down the handles. There we go. Okay. Ah, for the love of Pete. Trying to make sure that it's centered nicely, both lengthwise and widthwise. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, shorter here, and that's because I'm going to fold it over like this, and that way I'm only putting a rivet through the through one layer of the webbing. That looks so pretty. Ah, thank you. I completely agree. I love how that looks. I was a little worried, but I think it's going to look nice. Let me see. And see what I can do right now. Get a little preview. Boop. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Oh, yeah. This is a pre-order that's coming from Night Till Dawn. It's so cute. And there's going to be the Pow World creatures, aka Pokemon lookalike. I don't know what that game is. I know what the game is. I just don't know what to do with folks. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to use this one to help me place my piece of webbing. There we go. Okay. So what we're going to do now is just top stitch it at 1/8. I'm going to do the 1/8 on the vinyl side. No, it's Nikes. This is why we should lift. Okay. Lose control, pull it down. Okay, there we go. So that one's ready to go. Yeah, Night Till Dawn, K, like K and 9, like, you know, Sir Knight. Or as my nephew pronounced it for the longest time, Knight. He was always so angry that there was a K there and you didn't pronounce it. And I told him, I understand. I feel you, kiddo. To get speed on doing your handles, you just want to get used to putting your hands steady. So you've got your place where where you've lined it up with your foot. I have a place that I lined it up that's the perfect 1/8. I put my thumbs back here to kind of keep this back part steady. I put my forefinger, my first finger right here, the pointer, again to keep it steady. And then I use my middle finger to guide it, to keep it from moving too much either. Once it leaves my thumbs and it's about to hit my pointer finger, that's when I slow down a little bit. Because if I just keep going, there's a chance it'll skew itself. Yeah, definitely. Bobbin got me. Bobbin got me. I meant to check it and I didn't. So, not a big deal usually when you're sewing something together. You can just backstitch and it's fine. But with this, what I'm going to have to do, so first I'm going to pull back up my bobbin thread. I'm going to put that over there. I can't believe this. It cracks me up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my needle in the hole at the end of the stitching, and I'm just going to then go at the same speed, and that should just go right back into the other holes. And then I will take care of that once I come back around. Yeah, Night Till Dawn. I'm about to do some strikes for Beauty and the Geek. They have some amazing solid vinyls and some other stuff coming that I'm very excited about. I'm very happy to be a guest striker. That actually looks like it did what I needed it to do. Okay, so as it looks like nothing happened on the front, we've got the 2 extra stitches on the back, the bobbin thread that ran out, and then the thread that I had to pull through. All I do is clip those off and then touch them with the lighter. If you are concerned that those stitches are going to come out, which, you know me, I'm concerned about the world. All you have to do is take a little bit. You really should keep a bottle of super glue at your station. It's always a good idea to have it. This is the Ultra Gel Control because it's a little bit easier to work with. So I'm just going to put a dollop over those stitches, and then I'm going to spread it out. And this way, that's not going to have a different texture. As long as you're careful, it's going to glue like, and nobody's going to ever know it was there except you and, all of you. You're welcome. Cosmic Fabric Creations is another great group. Impish Geek. I think there's somebody else in my head and I cannot get them. Oh, Zombie Bunny. Love their vinyl too. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. And then we're going to go back to what we were doing in this step. Okay, so sides. Okay, so I need these. And 1, 2, those. And where did my sides go? I buried them. That's hilarious. So there's 1. And there's 2. Normally, I would use vinyl on the sides. However, with this, I am using the fabric because I want that pop of color. I don't want just all the gold. I'm going to get the pop of color with this too. To keep my D-rings from going all over the place, I actually go into the middle lengthwise and just stitch up as far as it'll let me. And then I go all the way back down. Lift up and push that out of the way. And then I'm going to do the next one. It's really interesting luck right now because the way the rainbow is set on these, I'm actually sewing blue on blue, so you don't even see the stitching. It's not even there. It's invisible. However, you're really not going to see. You shouldn't end up seeing that stitching anyways, because you're usually going right across here as close as you can to the ring. Those are gone. All right, so I've got those set. So for this step, I need my side panels, my accent panels, and my connectors with the D-rings. All righty. Oh, shoot. See, this is what happens when you guess. I think it'll be okay anyways, but come on. So I did not read the instructions. Because we're not supposed to do it like that. So again, good thing that I have that almost invisible thread on here. And that I'm using webbing and not, come on. There we go. Okay, let's try that again. Get all those threads out, put them on the floor because that's where they're going to end up anyways. All right, so mark center. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I'm supposed to top stitch that, which I don't have to with this. Then I'm to mark 1/2 inch up, slide, fold top edge down to that mark, and baste in place at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Oh, okay. I see what they mean. So mark that. Okay. So this is what she means is that you're marking at that measurement and then putting the other end to that mark. So you have this space of unused. And then from the shorter edge, a 1/4 inch on top of that is where you're going to stitch it, baste it down. Okay, let me see. Let me make sure that that is indeed. Okay. Alrighty, and then we're going to do the other one just like that. So the thing is, normally I would have read over this again. And the only excuse is how quick I was trying to get this all cut. Having that gusset issue yesterday with the backpack really set me back about an hour. Mainly because I took a little bit of a longer lunch so that when I came back to the bag, I was coming back in calmness and not in anger. Okay, so now I have those done and ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to move these out of the way for the moment. Alrighty. On the right side of the exterior side, there's a measurement. Now, that's the other thing too, is whenever you scale down a bag, you have to make sure that you're scaling down a lot of it. What was that last one? Oh, Cosmic Fabric Creations. Good morning, Katie. So I have this measurement, 2 3/4. Because if you don't, you're going to end up now. There we go. It's going to end up. Okay, so 2.75 times 0.85. So 2 1/4. Okay, so normally with the measurement that I'm given, this is where it would have me putting that, putting this here. That's obviously too low. So I do need to move it. Okay, so instead of that, it's about a 1/2 inch different. Right. So it's having me mark a line, a 1 inch line, and then I'm aligning the bottom of the connector. Okay. So I've got my line. I'm going to mark my other one so that I'm ready to go. So I'm going to mark a line. And all the way. There we go. All right, because that lets me put up a couple of things here. So what it wants me to do, and I'm going to get a piece of tape because there's no way I'm going to be able to hold that down and keep it straight. Okay, so I'm going to put that here. Because in the picture, it has it with the side up that is no problem. My YouTube will have the replay of this. So have a good day. All right. So full long side down. I'm going to line up my, yeah. That does not feel like that's in the middle. Hang on. Okay. There we go. That's more in the middle. Okay. So I have that. You can see the short end here. There's the longer end. The longer end is against that line and it's in the middle. Then I'm to stitch a 1-inch box. And what that should do, yep. So for me, I know that that's 1/8 away from my 1/4 inch basting. I'm actually going to go ahead and start there, because you shouldn't be seeing these stitches in a few moments. But this is a great way. I really like how this works out nicely, especially if you are using a thicker fabric, or I mean a thicker vinyl. It really lets you get away with using something like that. There we go. And because you're going to be putting a rivet here, so you really don't want to do a cross box in there. Spin me right round, baby, right round like a rocket, baby. Okay. So now I've got that part done. I'm going to stick that over here. And then we take our side panel accent. We're going to mark the middle. With this, I can give it a slight crease and then go down the middle. Oh, that's going to be some perfection. Now, if you're wanting to fussy cut something like this, we're not doing a double fold. We're only folding in once. So what you can do is, this is going to be 1 inch wide. Inch, because it's 3. So it's going to be like 3/4 of an inch. So you put your ruler there, you can see about where what we're going to have showing. And that way you can get a better idea of where to put your fold line even. Because I'll be very honest, it doesn't have to always be in the direct middle. If it's over a little bit, that should be fine. Now, you can either use tape. If I wanted to, I could iron this. I'm just going to use some glue because I don't feel like getting my iron. And I know that it likes the glue, so we're going to fold in those sides. And I did move my line just a smidge, because it's going to be 1.5 wide. Where are you at? There you go. But I moved it just ever so slightly so that I could have Kirby really showing up cute. So he's going to be, and because I cut it a little long, I can scooch it so that I'm not putting a rivet through his face. But see, that's what it's going to look like. Isn't that adorable? I'll go ahead and do this one. This one's just going to have Kirby peeking out. I don't think there's a way to... There is. Okay. So this is going to be going to the extreme because I really want Kirby himself to show up. So I'm going to, instead of marking my centers, because this is an accent, you can get away with this. I don't know if it were like a connector. I don't know if I would do something like this. I think it would weaken it. But I really want him to show up. I really like the stick glue. It's inexpensive. It's easy to use. It dries nicely. It's acid. Make sure any stick glue you get is acid free. If it's good for photos, then it's good for, then you can, it shouldn't be a problem with fabric. Make sure you test the swatch just to to be sure that it's not going to ruin the fabric. See, by doing that, now I have Kirby right there. So, but I only folded in like this little bit here on the top. It's going to get caught in the stitching, so I'm not worried about it. But I like making sure that it's going to be seen nicely. And I didn't fussy cut this, but I fussy folded it. Fussy. All right. So I've got this set up. Yes, sir. Can I assist you? What? Your door is open. You have plenty of food. Come on. Oh, I don't have the front door open. Okay. I'm sorry. So you can't go out there and watch the squirrels. So you have to come in here to watch the squirrels. Careful of this thread. Thank you. Hey. Thank you, sir. Okay. Now what we're going to do. Okay. Measure down. Okay, so it has a measurement. I'm pretty much just going to go right above that stitching that I did so that I'm hiding it. I might actually go up a little bit higher. What is it? 1 3/4. Nope. Gotta remember that decimal. Okay. Because that's 1.5. No, I just don't like that much. Because see, with the measurement adjustment even, it's got it right here. And it's got all that room to like pull and yank and stuff. And I don't like that as much. So I am going to go a little bit higher. I just have to remember that measurement. 1 3. Oh, here we go. 1 1/8. Okay. As long as I remember that measurement and I do it on the same on the other side, it'll be fine. Okay. Now it has you top stitch along the top and bottom of this at 1/8. You also then, if you want, because I don't think I'm going to even put a rivet on this side. I don't know, because I'm using rivets on the handles. And what you're able to do is put a rivet here, which will only go through one layer of the connector. So it's not like terrible. If I had done 2 lines of stitching on everything else, I would definitely do 2 lines of stitching on here. But seeing as this is just honestly covering, here we go. This is just covering up all this secure stitching you did. Also, be careful. If you're using fabric for this, it does like to stretch, even if it's interfaced. It can be a little stretchy. So make sure that when you're maneuvering it, that you're not maneuvering it out of place, because that happens to me sometimes when I'm doing my classic zip arounds. All righty. You can also tape it down if you want. Because it's going off the side, I just don't feel the urge to do that. Okay, let me trim this, and I'll show you both the front and the back. Alrighty, so there's the front of it. And then the back, you can see our box stitch there, and it feels pretty dang secure. And this is going to be a small bag, so it's the thing where I just don't know if it needs that extra, because sometimes adding a rivet weakens what you're putting down there. So that's the question you have to ask. Is the rivet going to add anything aesthetically and stability wise? Because if it's just going to add it aesthetically, but it's not going to, but it's going to take away from stability, then you really don't want to do that. And that is stinking adorable. I love how cute that is. Okay, let me do the other side real quick. Oh, that's a handle. Okay. I'll put a small piece of tape so it holds that in. So once again, I do have my mark. Okay, I've got my mark there. I'm going to make sure that this is centered nicely. I'm putting the bottom edge right there. And I'm going to put my 1-inch box around. I do have to remember that this webbing is a little like, I'm not going to say stretchy because that's not really it. It's, you can kind of maneuver it because of the way the weave is. So it can stretch on the bias. So I just have to be wary of that when I'm sewing it, which I am. Surprisingly, I remembered. All righty. Boop. Okay, so I've got that stitched on. Now, remembering the number that I used before. Right there. Yeah, even more so with the way this one's sitting, I even less want to put a rivet. I think just riveting the handles will be fine. I will have a chance to add the rivets later, but again, I'm trying to decide. Half of it is because I'm trying to remember where my rainbow rivets are, and if I have enough. If I don't have enough, then if all I have is like 4 or 5, I'm just going to worry about the handles, because I need this bag for my strike pictures by Saturday. And let me sleep at night. I really like the accent on this to be the pattern that is on the main panels, because I think it really ties everything together nicely. I'm not a huge fan of a bag being all one thing. I love having those contrast colors and textures and things, because this way it really creates a shape and gives more dimension. Not to say that an all alligator bag isn't gorgeous. I just happen to prefer pops of color. Oh, look at this cute little face. This cute little face. I love it. So, yeah, once again, we've got the back. Ooh, snakies. And we got some Rick Astley in the background now. Nice. So, I will think on that before I put it together, maybe. Let's see. Because I think that's what's next. Okay, that is indeed what is next. So, bear with me. I'm going to go and see what kind of rivet situation I have. Situation. I have enough. What do y'all think? Rivets? Do I need to make this bag riveting? You think my puns are bad? You really should meet Meg from Meg's Mashable. She's hilarious. All right. What are you doing out there? Hey, Psycho. Why is your tail so floofy? Good Lord. He has a raccoon tail. Hilarious. It's so, like, really floofy. I was hoping he'd jump down here so that y'all could see. Okay. All right, my darling. I am so sorry. Okay. As it says, the rivet is optional. The problem I have is that I don't know where she's suggesting the rivet, because the fabric that she has for this like side piece is polka dotted. So I can't tell what's a polka dot and what's a rivet placement. Okay. That's it. Come back here, rivet. They're too expensive to get lost. Okay. So these are very tiny ones. I need to look at getting larger ones again. You know what? Nope. I'm not going to worry about it on this. I think it'll be fine. It's a small bag, and the amount of stuff that you can put in this bag, I don't think is going to pull at it. It's very well put on because it was designed for that. So I will just rivet handles and be done. Okay, so okay, so I want to mark my seams. because it is a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And I want to make sure that that doesn't get messed up. Getting close to lunchtime. And then I might be taking the afternoon off so that I can play Diablo and let the hormones do what they're going to do. So I'm liking the size so far. I think it's going to be really cute. See, on the larger one, I did put rivets through here because it is a large bag. And I do try to think of those things. What is this a huge bag? Is it going to need that extra support or not? And I think this will be fine without it. Okay, so we're going to take the side that has the secret pocket. I'm sorry, we're going to take the panel that has the secret pocket. Oh, he just looks so cute with his little crown peeking out. He's like, what's up? I can hold your sunglasses. Okay. And then we're going to take one of the sides. And we are going to clip this together. So what I do is I look at what's... Apparently I throw things on the floor and then I look at what side. So I know I'm going to be sewing from this side to the bottom. So I do take a clip and I clip the pieces together, not at the seam where I'm going to be sewing. That way, when I take off the last clip down here, it doesn't go askew. It's still held on and I'm still able to sew. Okay, so I'm already seeing that looks like okay, so these are the decisions you have to make. This side is larger. So what I usually do is I choose what side is going to be even. I like the thought of the top matching properly. Now, this could be anything. It could be my seam allowances were off a little bit, but I'll be able to fix that afterwards because all I'll have to do is trim this little bit. It'll be fine. So I'm not overtly concerned there. What I'm concerned about is making sure that my top lines up properly. So, and then what I do is go. So I'm also going to clip again out of the seam allowance and where I'm sewing. These are just to secure this while I'm sewing and taking clips off. Aw, Kenny loves me. So many almonds in this mix. But every bag I got to put in the mix had almonds. And I like almonds, but not this many. Okay. You know what I mean. All right, so 1/2 inch seam allowance. I went ahead and marked my seams. So right here, you have bulky hardware on both sides. So what I do is I grab here and push down to make sure that it's still lined up nicely, which it is. And I lift up this side. That way it's not going to pull, because if you do this, it's going to lift up here and it's going to pull in that seam. This is the Mr. Heckles by Sincerely Jen. I'm doing this one at 85%. Let's see. I can't remember if we top stitch these open. Alrighty. So if your sides didn't line up perfectly, you have two options at this point. Open that up. You can either come back here and clip so that it does match up, or you can wait just in case. It's going to be so adorable. I mean, how could it not? It's Kirby. Now what am I doing? And now I'm top stitching. Okay. So we are going to push the lining. It really wants to go behind that panel, your front or your panel anyways. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. And then I'm going to top stitch. Now, this will not be difficult to top stitch 3 of the sides. It'll be the 4th one that will challenge your patience and everything that you know and love. Because that's when you've got to top stitch in the cylinder. Even with a cylinder machine, it can be a bit of a pain in the butt. Take your time going over that bulk of the pocket of the 2 pieces that were put together. And if you feel scared, I do. All right, so there's one side. Yeah. And just keep doing that till it's done. That's what it says. Oh, I love that gold with it. I hate that y'all picked that because it's so good. It's such a pain in the butt. Okay. I'm trying to decide which is easier to put on another side panel. Yeah. Because if I do both side panels at once, it gives me it gives me a good look at what's going on. Okay, so once again, I'm making sure to match up my tops seams, because that's where, like I said, if I decide to drop the lining in, I'm going to need those to be nice and even. To be fair, I need them nice and even no matter what, but it does the break sometimes. Okay, I've got my 2 anchor clips. Anchor. There we go. Okay, so I've got that attached or clip. Okay. Alrighty, so stitch these 2 together. I'd like to at least have the outside done. Because I don't know what's going on. I keep thinking it's Saturday. I don't know why I think it's Saturday. So, Ganani asked, when I'm scaling and it's a weird number, do I go up or down? I try to go to an even number, obviously, something in the quarters. at worst 8. Let me lift this up so that doesn't fidget. So it's usually a judgment call too. For example, when I did the numbers on how wide to make this, it was like 2.33 or something. It was something like 0.332. So I did go up because I knew I would rather it go all the way across than be short. That's usually better to go up, I will say. Because if you go up, then you have extra. The only place that I warn to not, that I say to use caution with that rule is when you're doing a gusset. The best way to get the numbers for your gusset is to add. So take your number, your bottom gusset number, and times that by your percentage. Do the same with your zipper and write those two numbers down. Add them together and keep that number separate for a moment. Then go back to the original numbers, add those together, and take 85, and then times that by your percentage. And then you're going to look at your two numbers because that's the total you're going to want for both of them. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a gusset that's either too short or too long. Both are fixable, as I had to deal with yesterday, that because I had an extra 4 inches because I looked at my wrong numbers. But that's how I've been able to do well enough with my gussets. But most other numbers, if you go up, it's just going to be an advantage. It's just going to be extra. And it's hard to keep up with that thought process when you're really like trying to get the most you can out of your vinyl because you don't have enough. So I've been in that place. That is rainbow, isn't it? Okay. I thought my D-rings weren't rainbow for some reason. But that is looking so stinking cute because then it's going to go like that. Oh, okay. I do like this size a lot. I think I like this size better than the original. But that's how I feel about the Erica. Which Saturday, we might delve into the box of I cut it and forgot about it. Just to kind of take a peek and see what the hell I was thinking. All right. So here's the next one to go. Scaling the first couple of times can be scary. So the first time you scale a pattern, use fabric and vinyl that you don't care about. That if you have to harvest that vinyl and everything, because you finish it and you're like, oh, this thing is calling for me to unalive it. Okay. Because I've made a bag where I was like, oh, okay. And just immediately started to disassemble it because it was not number 5 and I could disassemble it without it crying. But mainly it was just, it came out really bad. Okay. So that's a note I want to take. So it's a little bit shorter on this side too, with this panel. So I know it's not my seams, that it's something I cut or that scaled a little weird, which happens even with the pieces. But yeah, there's nothing like when you're scaling and it's this like weird number. Also I recommend keeping near you or like on your phone or something, a decimal chart. There are decimal charts that are decimals to fractions that are extremely useful because you might not realize that that number is actually closer to 1/8 than a quarter. And that's going to help your decision a lot too. Also, another great way to scale, to get better at scaling, is when you go to scale a pattern, make sure it's one you've made before, because that's going to help you a lot. Every pattern, before I scale it, I make the pattern at 100% the way it's written. And I do that because I want to make sure that I understand how the construction is supposed to go. Put that over there. The gloves, these are compression gloves, and actually they're a nice light compression. And I know they have a left and right, but sometimes I switch them so that the compression's a little different. These are because I have a bit of arthritis in my hands. I've had it since I was like 18. I don't know. But after a lot of clenching and pinching and that, my hands get tired. So I have these and a hand massager, which I need to do my wrists. They're starting to hurt. In fact, I need to wash these. You want to wash compression gloves with hot water, let them soak in hot water and then wash them. That helps the elasticity to pull back in. But they help to keep the arthritis from getting too bad. And I've been really bad about not wearing them. And this winter, it got bad. Like I must have done 6 bags one day, and I felt like I couldn't open my hands any more than this. It hurt. So I try to keep arthritis cream near me, which I need to get a new tube of. And I have pills that I can take if it gets really badly. A lot of times it's just the turning of the bag, birthing it, that hurts. It actually, with this, I will say, now that you mention it, I have not had. I have to seam rip something. Hang on, because I put that upside down. So bear with me for a moment. Well, at least I caught it before I top stitched, so that's definitely important because that would have been a lot of perforation in this vinyl. So I'm just gonna go through and kind of clip these. I don't use traditional seam rippers. They tend to be slippery sometimes, or they don't want to go. So I use my snips, or I use my scalpel, and just kind of go from there. Sometimes when I do this, and I know I have to seam rip to help assist my mind in not being too angry with the situation, I will clip one part and I will pull up each loop at a time, and I will do this slowly because it really helps me to center back into the mindset that it's not a big deal. It's only a big deal if I make it a big deal. There we go. So if I feel that I'm like getting frustrated or angry about it, usually it means that I'm hangry and I need to go eat. Then I will make sure that I pick out every thread, that the holes are exactly where I think they're going to be, so I know I can go right back in them. And then I fix the problem. Oh, Lily, I definitely recommend these. I have to put all the stuff. I think I might be able to edit that, but I have a wish list that I put everything that I use. I'm trying to put everything that I use. Make sure that's the right side up this time. I think that felt a little weird, but I was like, no, man, it's probably just me. Okay. Yeah, if your hands hurt after sewing, um, it also could be a blood flow thing too. If you go to a doctor, definitely let them know that after activities like that, your hands hurt. It's mostly because I don't think mine's actually arthritis. I think it's more carpal tunnel because I used to do a lot of typing. I've done a lot of jobs where I typed. So that might be a good part of it. But I will say most of the stuff for arthritis works well for me. Like you can tell the way the stitching is here that this is the hand this is supposed to be on. Also be careful. I like clipped mine with my scissors. So we just sewed it back on real quick. I just took it off, put it under the machine, and then put it back on. But that's what I do is then I switch the hands so that the compression's a little bit different. But I'm going to get them soaking in some hot water, I think today, and then wash them with the laundry. All right. I am so glad I looked at that. My brain was like, hey, I don't think that's right. I'm like, nah, it's fine. And I looked at it, I was like, oh no, my brain is right. Thank you, brain. I would have been very upset. I would have been frustrated because once you top stitch it, it's a little bit more difficult to undo it. Okay, now we're cooking. There we go. Lord have mercy. All right. And yes, I am noticing that it's about the same amount missing on the bottom. So it's just a good chance that when I cut the side pieces that I just cut them a little bit longer. Sometimes that happens. All that means is that I will just trim it off. All right. Actually, I'm really glad I noticed it then and not when I stitched the other side too. Oh, right. But yes, sometimes I'll use my snips or sometimes I'll use my scalpel. Right now, this wouldn't have been as useful because it needs a new blade and I forgot to buy some at Dragon Con last year. So I might just end up ordering some on their site. Oh, there we go. Because I use Fomore scissors. I absolutely adore their scissors. And the fact that I can take a box with me to Dragon Con and just be like, here, can you sharpen these? And it's a really good price for scissor sharpening. So I think it's like $1.25 an inch, something like that. I think they went up. I don't remember. I really don't look. It's one of those places that I just give them a credit card and tell them just make sure not to, not to tell me what you did. Just here's 2 new pairs of scissors and whatever the sharpening cost is. And I absolutely adore seeing them again. Make you cry. Love songs often do. Really? Killing me here. Saying I love you. I got those away. All right, so I've stitched that last one together. Now, this is what I was talking about. This is going to be the challenging top stitch. And this is where you want to make sure that you're not trying to rush through and finish something before you go to lunch. If you need to go to lunch, then you leave that right there because this is not going to be your fun moment. This is not going to be our day in the sunshine because we have to stitch in this, the tube. Depends on what you mean by stuff. I order off of Amazon for certain things, like tools and that. Uh, my husband has started to design some tools for me. When you're in the tube, you're going to have to do a lot of squishing. So be ready for that. But what I do is I take the other side, and I just kind of squish it in. Okay, I'm gonna hold my threads. Fabric I get from a couple of different groups. This fabric is going to be a pre-order with Night Till Dawn fabrics. Take your time when you're top stitching in the tube. And again, be willing to squish it. I'm not going to lie, this is going a lot easier than I thought it was going to. Okay, there we go. Oh, really? Got a small little weirdness, which, come on, you. This is part of the problem, is getting it off the, come on. Oh, there you are. Haha, I gotcha. Clipping those strings off and getting it back out. Now, because I'm stitching on cotton, I can unpick some of them and redo that if I want. Vinyl is, again, from a lot of different places. This one's from the Sewing Studio, which is located in Florida, but they do have a website. I believe it's sewingstudio.net, but don't quote me on that. Let's see. I see it. Okay, let me take a look. Do I really want to unpick that? I do, because boy, howdy, I don't like that. So I'm going to... So the reason I'm wanting to unpick is, as you can see, there's like two weird lines. Let's see. So I'm going to unpick this. This vinyl's from, like I said, from Sewing Studio. I know Night Till Dawn will be doing a vinyl rerun soon. And I'm going to be striking with some really beautiful vinyls from Beauty and the Geek. So I'm gonna see if Hillary's okay with me doing a live sew with those. When I strike, I always want to make sure with the designer that they're ready for the designs to be shown off. It's really funny. I know I kind of get a heads up with Night Till Dawn when one of the strikers, her cat Chi, when she does what they're called sneak peeks with Chi's little paws on the fabric. It's so cute. So I know then that I can start kind of sneaking that. But if I haven't seen it yet, I'll just touch base with the person that I'm going to be striking for and make sure that that's okay. There we go. Okay. So all I did was carefully unpick those stitches right here. And let's see. And pull the threads to the back. Now what I'm going to do, before I tie those off or anything, I'm just going to... You also want to make sure that you're not like over stitching cotton, because that can wear it down. So I'm going to come back here. It's like literally 2 stitches. There you are. There you are. And so I have a nice clean top stitch. I'm going to pull the threads to the back. Come on, you. Where are you at? Alrighty. And I'm just going to get a small piece of tape and secure these threads. I thought that was Cindy. And I'm going to go long ways along the stitches, and that's going to help secure them even more. But I wanted to start from the bottom so I could back stitch and not have that in the middle. And I didn't want to have to fight the tube again. All right. So now we have the bag so far. Inside out, of course. I almost said recipe. I have a pattern that I've been looking at for tablet covers because it's going to depend. I'm thinking, honestly, of doing just ones that have a piece of elastic that pull over onto a button. But I've also seen one from Carolina Little Stitches. It's the Book Bestie, and I haven't had a chance to make it, but it does look adorable. And I'm thinking about doing some of those. Oh, now we get the fun of the bottom. What time is it? It is 10 minutes to 12. That is awesome. All right, what am I doing here? Because I'm hungry. But I want to get the outside done so that all I'm doing is the interior after this. Okay, so at the table, I marked my centers. I'm just going to go right here. I did that just in case. Oh, I need to do that, don't I? Okay, so remember I said I have that little bit extra. So what I'm going to do is just put my scissors kind of in line and just snip to that corner. There we go. That's going to be interesting. Let's see how well I can do this left-handed. I am slightly ambidextrous. I say slightly just because. Back a little bit. I got it. So now that's even. I like being able to see it. So, okay. So again, I'm just kind of laying my scissors right up against evenly so that I can get a nice even line. Mainly I'm just doing this so that when I put the bottom on, I'm not having to adjust to it. Hang on, I'm trying to do this left-handed with right-handed scissors. And I said I'm slightly ambidextrous. I'll go write in an article about it, though. There we go. Okay, that's better. That makes me feel better. So, taking our bottom, and on the short end, so we're putting the bottom to the side. Here comes the advantage of this sticky vinyl, is that it's going to help me to clip it, and it shouldn't shift. So I've got it right sides together in the tube of joy. Nope. That's how you get kicked off TikTok. Uh, Get a little snack. Look over. Figure out my 1/2-inch seam allowance. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, because I forgot to mark it, I'm going to just take it off and mark it because I don't like guessing. I like a nice consistent seam allowance. So what I have to do though is kind of curl it a little bit up my machine here. And that's because the purse feet will not let it lay flat. Now, if you cut your stabilizer like perfectly within that, and you've got a good clean cut, you can just use your stabilizer. Tape's kind of in the way. It just means I gotta really mark it. There we go. But I usually cut my stabilizer last, and then by that time, I'm just like ready to be done cutting. My life has had no meaning since I started cutting, and I just want to be done with it. I'm very, very overtly dramatic about that. I know. I am a drama llama. I'm actually very overtly dramatic about stuff in a, I don't want to say joking way, but it is at the same time, because it helps me to cope with what I'm dealing with. My husband knows when I'm being completely serious and when I'm just being a drama llama. How was your day? Oh, I feel like I'm going to sleep forever. I'm so tired. All right. So now we're going back to pinning or clipping these together, which I really don't have to because this vinyl is so sticky. All right. So again, because I have that hardware on the bottom, I need to kind of lift up a little bit. So you know what? We're actually going to put a couple of clips. There we go. So what I'm having to do is lift up this bottom a bit so that the hardware doesn't get in the way of the seams staying where I want them. I'm going to tap that in real quick. No, I'm not, apparently. Sassy little butt. But that is one of the reasons why, by the way, you want to hold your threads. It helps to not get them nested underneath, but it also means that you'll have a less of a chance of it pulling up. Okay, let's try that again. So there we go. Got them matched up, yeah. And the reason I noticed real quick was because it felt and sounded different. The best thing you can do is get to know the sounds of your machine. And I do usually sew with headphones in, listening to something. So I make sure that I also know how it kind of feels as well. Okay, let's see. All righty. Place contrast inside two, right sides together, matching up short sides, sew together. Press away from exterior. Seam allowances towards. Oh, okay, yeah. No cross. Oh. bag is adorable, but I will tell you, it likes to be a tricky one. Okay, so we are pulling our bottom panel out, and we're pushing that seam behind the side panel, not the contrast bottom. Let me make sure. Okay, press contrast bottom away from exterior side with the seam allowance towards the back of the exterior side, top stitch. Okay, yep, that is correct. With vinyl, unless you do 2 rows of stitching, you really don't want to tug too hard on this, because the way we're stitching it for top stitching is actually going to help those stitches relax a little bit. So I'm actually kind of pushing the side panel a little bit more towards the bottom panel. Not too much. I'm just not like stretching them. Alone in the world, it's so cold. I'm back stitching, but you don't have to. I just like that secured stitch. Yes, stomach, pizza soon, I promise. We're almost there. Fine, you stay there, string. Okay, so now we're going to repeat on the other side, and then we're going to have to, once again, figure out how we are stitching in a tube. All right. I do find it a little easier to stitch this down with the, come on, there we go. With the bottom panel up. It feels like there's just less to fight with that way. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm going to push up. So again, it's not fighting those seams staying together. Okay, let's see. I'll hold my threads. It's also a good habit just to get into, to hold your threads. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tack down so that I'm not having to worry about holding my threads. I'm going to put my other hand in here, once again, push up my bottom panel away from my side so that those feet aren't pulling the seams. Go across. The nice thing is that the glitter vinyl's sticking to itself, so I don't really have to worry too much about shifting. But it does shift otherwise. Okay, so now I'm pulling out that, and I'm pushing that behind it. Again, we're not going to yank on this. Now, I have found that if you do this kind of like pull squish, you can get across this part without too much issue. Again, I'm kind of making it puff a little bit so that it lets those stitches relax a little bit and feel like they're not having to hold the whole ship. Okay. Oh, y'all are in for a treat. Thriller's coming on. Okay, so now we have a basket. That's upside down. All right. Whew, we're getting there. We're getting there. That is going to be so stinking cute. I am so excited. Okay, so it says then to match one long edge of the bottom panel up with the bottom of the exterior front and part of the sides. center it. So at 1/2 inch. Okay. Whew. All right. Last 2 steps, and then I am going for lunch because I am a hungry little gal. All righty. Now I need to make sure that I've got my centers marked because I don't. Or I do, don't I? I should. Oh. I'm going to remark my centers because I'm going to use the seams of the panel to the, there we go. I'm using the seam from the panel to the side to make sure that it actually is a center. There is a chance that will kind of off skew. There we go. I was like, something was very confusing to me for a moment. I don't know why. Imagination. Yeah, it's skewing the handles a smidge, but not enough that I think it'll be noticeable. Okay, so now I have those centers. I already have the centers marked on my long edge. So now we're going to match those up. This is where we definitely have to clip because I have fabric on part of this. The nice thing is that the handles will help kind of keep everything from shifting too, because they're the vinyl, so they'll stick to the bottom panel. Okay, and so see what it does is it clips kind of right in here. I'm putting a few extra clips where the fabric is because I feel like it's just not going to be, it's not going to be as nicely secured as the vinyl is going to be. So got that clipped. My markings are up here, so I'm going to sew it this way. It is a little bit easier to sew this way anyways. So okay. So on the picture, it shows the stitching going from end to end of the panel. So that should be end to end of here. So you are going to go through those stitches. I'm going to go right there. Make sure everything else is out of the way. Blind myself with my light. If you have a stiletto, that might also be useful here to make sure that your seams don't move. What I'm doing is I'm pulling, you can kind of see, I'm pulling out the clip, but I'm not taking it off just yet until I get to that part. With a 1/2 inch seam allowance, you can get away with doing that a lot more. There we go. Because you're gonna, you're just gonna pass right by that clip, and it helps to keep the seams from shifting on you too much. You can also put a piece of double-sided tape, like just 1/4 inch double-sided tape. You can staple if you are a part of the Staplers Club. I used to staple a lot of stuff, but ever since I started like tacking things first, it kind of helps a lot. Speaking of, because this is a super thick vinyl, I am going to go back in and go along 1/8 of an inch from my stitching. What that will do is it will help to give a little strength so that one line of stitching isn't the only thing keeping it from coming apart. This will add stability as well as let it not really pull those stitches out to be seen. Oh my God, y'all, look at how cute that is. I'm so sorry, YouTube. You got pushed. See, how cute is that? Yes, sir. Did we put our chill pants on? Because, good Lord. Hi. I love you, baby boy, but mommy's trying to get some stuff. You are so cute. Okay. Go ahead. Thank you, sir. As always, we appreciate the visit. I'm just making sure that that's actually... Also, remember, anytime you're using fabric, that the fabric has, even with interfacing, has a chance to still be a little stretchy, especially if you're using a woven interfacing. We'll see how this combination comes out too. I think I might, on this size, use foam instead of Decoville. Foam and fleece, or just fleece. Because it's such a small bag, I don't think it needs like a massive amount of stability for it. Okay. So now I've got that clipped. Everything's lined up nicely. My stomach is growling. Okay, so now this side will be a little bit more challenging, and that's mainly because you're having to push extra bulk out of the way, and you don't have that advantage of the hole being there for the tube. So this, I'm just kind of like loosening things up here so that it's not going to pull at those seams because of the purse feet. To be fair, you can add the purse feet after you put this together. After you've got your exterior done. Good Lord. Ooh, it is fighting me because I'm going right next to my stabilizer. Okay. But yeah, you can put the first feet on at this point. As long as you mark it before you put everything together, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And that way you're not having to fight that extra hardware. I just do it because I know I'll forget. And I like purse feet on a purse because I set mine down everywhere. Okay, and then I'm going back over. Got my 1/8. There we go. Dang it. Sorry, YouTube. I keep moving you. Because the purse. Alrighty. Now, if I turn it out, I'm going to end up doing a drop-in because I don't like turning this out too often. But I really want to do it birth. I want to see how well it does. I'm going to trim these corners here, though. I need an almond. Just going to make sure not to cut any massive stitching. I'm going to hope that that didn't mess it up. So I'm just sticking my hand in, poking pretty hard at with my fingertip. Okay, we're good. I'm going to trim this part too. And I'm doing that mainly because I just want it to sit nicely, and it'll help with the pull of the stitches as well. So I'm just trimming the bottom. I trim the sides, I think. Come on, you. Actually, I'm going to leave the sides. I'm going to leave the sides because I think it's going to actually add to helping that sit the way I want it to. But, I mean, it sits pretty nicely. And I think at this size, fleece would be just as fine. Fleece or foam. I think if I do all vinyl in the next one, I'm going to try with just foam. And I might attach the foam onto the lining. That way it's a whole piece. But there it is. Okay, so that is this. So we're going to set this aside, and then I will be doing the lining off camera. And probably tomorrow I'll be posting the picture of it done. I really need to get it done. But I am very hungry. Hungry enough that I'm contemplating eating just these freaking almonds. So many almonds. Why are there so many almonds in this trail mix? All right, so boop. You know what? I might come back on later so that I can finish the bag completely, and so that if anything, I will probably do it on YouTube where I have something in my head so that I can just concentrate on that. And this way, if you want, you can go back and replay that live. It'll just be an ASMR. There we go. Love all the different acronyms for things. All right. So thank y'all so much for joining me. And I hope you have a great day. Oh my God. Why do I keep thinking it's Saturday? I don't understand. Bye. Oh, now I'm going to get over to you. Where am I stopping it? There we go.